Hi, I'm Brent Johnson.
And I'm Nick Myers.
And today we are at Highway Tabernacle Church in Philadelphia, almost downtown. This used to be Fifth Baptist Church, we believe that's right. And tell me about this organ we're sitting in front of.
So this is Roosevelt Opus 148, built in 1884. Roosevelt was one of the most important builders of, I think, of building history and of building pipe organs. They were the first builder to use electric action. They built a organ for the World's Fair that was the first ever to be electrified using electro-pneumatic. And the first church organ was actually in Garden City Cathedral. That's where they did their first installation in a church of electric action.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, this one is mechanical action, of
Yes,
course.
this is all tracker.
From 1884. And 27 ranks, I believe, is what
Yes,
it is?
27.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to hear some of it. Let's just start over here on the grate.
Well, yeah, so we should start with the diapason because why not? And then we can top that off with a 4-foot octave. That by itself sounds like this. With the 8-foot. It's a nice chorus.
Yeah, but the 8-foot is most of it. It's got one of those big, late 19th century diapasons. It's not even as big as some of the first opens that we see, but it's the only diapason, and it's pretty big.
It's pretty big. It fills this room really pretty well. And then on top of that, there is a 2-foot super octave. And then there's a quint in there as well. Kind of fluty. So, and doing the 8-4-2 by itself. And now with the quint.
Quint adds a little bit. It's not very strong or overpowering there.
Well, there is, outside of that, there is a mixture, a 3-rank mixture, which can top that off. And
very pungent sound.
By itself, you can hear that it... and then also in that chorus, there's a big 16-foot open, which is in the facade.
Okay, that's what's out here. It's very full, but it's kind of gentle too compared to that big 8-foot open.
It surprised me when we heard it. Yeah, I was expecting a little bit bigger, but with the chorus in and of its, all of the diapason tone with the mixture.
Big full sounds. So
I love that.
And then we have a few other 8-foots there.
We do. Well, there's the 8-foot Doppelflöte. Very sweet.
Yeah.
There is a Dulciana. I believe that borrows from the Doppelflöte, the bottom octave.
Like it,
yeah. And then the viol da gamba. So if you put that on with a Doppelflute,
that nice sort of reed organ sound, very gentle, but has a bright edge to it. So, all right.
And the final crowning glory of the great is a very spicy trumpet.
Yeah, that's nice, big and loud. And how does that sound then with some of the?
I was going to say, if we do a chorus with that, let's do without the mixture first. Do you want to do the 16?
Let's try it without. 8 foot only.
8 foot only. Then if you add the mixture.
Little tuning things, but other than that, that's still really bright and fiery. That adds a lot of edge to that big diapason.
Yeah, and it plus the 16, I bet we can get kind of a. That's just the great.
That's quite a sound.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so from the great, then we go over towards swell.
Yeah, we have quite a few ranks in here. I guess we could start with the Borden just because it's low and we actually fix the stop actions we've got here.
Very gentle.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful violin diapason.
That's lovely. Quite a contrast to the diapasons in the great.
Completely.
They have that violin style with so much upper harmonics coming through.
Almost just really loving that violin side of the diapason. There's also in there a stop diapason.
It's very similar in quality to the 16.
We have a 8-foot dolce, which also borrows the bass from the stop diapason.
How does that compare to the great Dulciana, just in quality and volume?
You can shut it down too.
Very similar, but much softer even than the great, which is in itself pretty soft to begin
Yeah,
with. So.
exactly. We also have in there let's do the 4-foot flute harmonique.
Okay. Yeah, quite nice.
And then a 4-foot Gemshorn.
Oh.
Very stringy.
Stringy, I'm wondering if the 4-foot Gemshorn then with maybe the 4-foot flute harmonique, if that's enough of almost like a principal sound to go with the 8-foot violin diapason.
Yeah, well, so just the 4-foots by themselves. And with the violin diapason.
It's still mostly stringy, and that's because we're working with a violin diapason in it.
Yeah.
But it definitely builds up a chorus there a little bit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Then to kind of top all that off, the 2-foot in here is a flageolet. And then there's a cornet. Flutes. Put that with the flutes.
Okay, we get a little solo color there.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Then there are two reeds in the swell. First, we have an oboe.
It's a very bright forward oboe.
Yes, and then if you want to go bright and forward, here's the cornopian.
Okay. I was not expecting that much bright and forward
Nope.
out of something called a cornupian.
Exactly. Yeah, that surprised me too.
Huh.
But if you kind of compare that to the great trumpet, here's the cornopian.
They're almost equal. This one's a little louder, but this one's a little brighter. So, yeah, you have quite a variety there to pick and choose from when you blend them with other stops and
Yeah.
expression box.
I kind of wonder what it would be like if you put the cornopian with some 8-foots to give it some body.
That's a lot of sound.
It's
either
a
way.
beautiful amount of sound, yeah. And then finally we have the pedal, which there is a violoncello. Looking at how that's spelled. We have an independent pedal borden. And then we have a independent from the great, a pedal open diapason, which also makes up a lot of the facade. That's thundery.
It's a big sound.
So all three of those actually create quite a... It's quite a pedal division.
It is. So simple as one might expect on an instrument like this. But, and the question has always been, do we use that 8-foot violon as just to compete with some of the stops up here? Or did they actually use that as a solo of some sort in the pedal? That's
Yeah.
Because we see those show up a lot as just the only 8-foot being one that cuts through a little bit and sticks out. So I don't know. Have to see. Now some interesting controls underneath for couplers and such.
Yeah, we have a pedal to a grate, or a grate to pedal, and a swell to pedal.
And they're push buttons on
And they're
off.
push buttons, yep. And the grate to pedal has a little reversible, which is kind of cool. Then we have a swell to grate on and off, and then we have a grate or swell to grate octave
Oh, okay.
on and off,
Engaging couplers underneath the keys there.
making the action extraordinarily heavy. So if you would like to challenge that. But yeah, and we have a few setter or a few combination action spoons
Sort of
as well.
preset, line
Yeah,
presets.
that push out, and the names of them are actually
Oh, I
up
see.
here.
That's what those are.
Yeah.
Correspond to the sheet.
So yep, so you can see that one brings on everything.
This organ from 1884 was restored in 1989 by Patrick Murphy, and
Yes.
so it's fairly pristine inside, and it looks amazing out here. Unfortunately, the church has been trying to take care of it and keep it playing. I don't know how much they actually use it on a Sunday to Sunday, but I hope they get some use out of it because it's a fantastic instrument.
It
and
is.
a wonderful find.
It is wonderful.
Well, the Roosevelt Highway Tabernacle is Opus 148, built in 1884. The building was originally Fifth Baptist Church, Philadelphia. The interesting story was that the organ was unplayable. I first heard about it in the 80s, and it was by the Highway Tabernacle Assembly of God. At the time, I became unemployed, and my fiance and I moved about a block away from the building. And I walked in one day and was actually talked my way into getting the job to do renovation of the instrument to make it playable. It had been unplayable for a long time. With some volunteer labor and a seed money of $5,000, all of the pipes were taken out of the organ, put into trays, and were in the Sunday school area being cleaned. The bellows had been removed and was ready to be hauled away to be re-leathered by a contractor, and everything was fine. In August of 1986, though, however, about a few weeks after we started work on the instrument, electrical fire originated during a service, a midweek service, and the church burned through the ceiling. I went and dismantled the instrument, gathered all the parts out of it, so the pipes were not in the instrument, but it suffered enormous water damage. All the facade pipes, the metal facade pipes had fallen over and had totally been nearly destroyed, so I picked up all the parts and reassembled all the facade pipes on a floor by using one photograph and by measuring what seemed to be logically what went where, and had a new facade made. This was a 16-foot principal. So through various subcontractors, it was my first job, my Opus 1, and it was started in January of 1987 and then was completed in approximately late 1988. So the contractors, my contractors had done various portions of it, and I reassembled the entire instrument by myself during that period, while the building itself was also under reconstruction. In the process, I found, when I opened up one of the bellows lids, was a business card from Samuel Bates, who was the installer for Roosevelt. Roosevelt had 3 factories, though they were a New York builder. They had a factory in Philadelphia, and they had a factory in Baltimore. And Samuel Bates worked, of course, in the Philadelphia factory. The superintendent was Charles Haskell. Oliver Cully was a voicer for Roosevelt in the Philadelphia factory. So as I started to say, that we found a business card inside the bellows lid that he was the installer for Roosevelt, and I placed my card underneath it in the bellows at the same time. But later on, when the Roosevelt factory, Philadelphia factory closed, Bates and Cully went into partnership, and they built several Roosevelt-style instruments in Philadelphia.
The organ is accessed through doors on either side of the case. We're going to start here on the left side. And immediately we see the chest for the pedal pipes that are in the facade and the trackers and rollers for that chest. Here's our stop action and then our double rise regulator underneath there. You can see the trackers for the pedal running along the floor. One of them's been damaged, unfortunately. We're back on the other side of the case. This side allows you access to the grate and swell. And just the same, we have the other side of the pedal over here. Just a closer look at the regulator. And that's up to the grate. Here we are looking at the grate pipes. Tubing for the facade pipes. Now we have come up to the level of the swell, which is enclosed in this box and requires removing a shade to get into it, so we're just going to peek through the shades here and take a look at the pipework. Looking back out, we see the treble of the pedal pipes that are along the side of the swell box. And also access to the facade pipes for tuning. And we head back down the ladder.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour of this 1884 Hilborne Roosevelt organ here at Highway Tabernacle Church in Philadelphia. We're right near downtown. Thank you, Nick, for lining this up. He found this organ and got us in here and made it all happen. So thank you for demonstrating it, and I hope we can find some more Hilborne Roosevelt organs so we can compare and see if they're all as nice as this one. To help us make more videos, well, we need your help. So you can do that by going to organ.media and clicking on support and becoming a sponsor of the Organ Media Foundation. That helps us get out and find these instruments and bring them to you. Until our next video, make sure you're subscribed and click on the bell to get notifications when our next one comes out. And until then, you can listen to classical organ music on our 3 streaming stations, organlive.com, Positively Baroque, and The Organ Experience. Until next time, I'm Brent Johnson.
And I'm Nick Myers.
Thanks for watching.